1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, open the door. 5, 6, pick up sticks. I like your lipstick, babe. What color is that? Salmon? What color?
Salmon.
Let me explain something to y'all.
No,
Only them
color it
people
is.
from DC say salmon.
I don't say salmon, so you can't say that, people from DC, because I don't say salmon. I say salmon.
All right. What's
Is it salmon or is it salmon?
Put it in the comments. Is it salmon or is it salmon?
Because you about to start a fight.
We about to start a fight, y'all. Coming up next, behind closed doors with the Brookses.
Before the leap, the transitions we had to make before we moved to Panama.
Listen. Stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Behind Closed Doors with the Brookses. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and a relationship coach. And this light-skinned, lovely, light-skinned, bronze,
wonderful,
beautiful,
all the things. Cherie A. Brooks Jr., author, speaker, relationship coach. And I'm doing my Steph Curry shimmy.
Listen, go USA from Panama. So we're going to get into it today, babe. We're going to talk about some things I think that a lot of people, and when I say a lot, I don't mean in terms of number as much as it seems like the burning question consistently is, how did y'all, what was your mindset going into making a move like that? I've heard people characterize what we've done as brave or courageous or, things like that. And for you and I don't think we call it brave and courageous, although it may be in some eyes. I get it, but I think it's prepared.
Yeah.
And I think that whether we knew we were going to do this or not, we were preparing for a life like after what we had built after the last 25 years of marriage. Would you say?
Right, I agree with that. And I think that that's the key. I think that oftentimes when people reach transitional points in their relationship or in life, transitional points in life, they have not prepared their relationship for those transitions. So whether it's you becoming an empty nester, your kids are going to leave home one day, they're going to go off to college, or they're going to go work or whatever, they're going to leave home. Whether it's retirement, people don't prepare their relationship for that. Or in our case, it's moving abroad. Sometimes people don't prepare their relationship. Now, there are a lot of practical things you can do to prepare yourself. Of course, you want to make sure that you're financially stable, that you have some outside source of income. If you're going to relocate somewhere else, even if you're moving to another state, there are certain things that you want to have in place to make that transition as smooth as possible. But I think people don't think about preparing their relationship.
So let me jump in real quick, because I think for a little context, as relationship coaches, Cherie and I get a chance to coach people who are going through in their relationship. That's what we do. Many of you guys may have, if you're a follower of this channel, by the way, if you're not, we encourage you to, but if you're a follower of this channel and been with us long enough, you know that we run a community called the MAPS Relationship Academy. It is an academy of people who are growing in their relationships for one specific purpose. They come and have us coach them, and that is that they get to where they need to be together.
Yes.
That they strengthen the bonds of their relationship. And in the last 25 years of marriage, I think both you and I could attest to the fact that it takes more than just the fact that we love each other to make this work. And I think that that is the challenge, because we're seeing, y'all, unfortunately, people come to places like this that many of you would consider paradise. And the question becomes, how do you get the paradise and your relationship comes unglued? We said that at the same time. There's a reason for that. And I think that it has a lot to do with what the state of the relationship was prior to making the paradise move.
Right. And there are certain transitions, like I said, in your in life that are going to happen. So one day, like I said, if you have children, they're going to leave. You're going to eventually retire, but people don't think, let's prepare for that today.
Yeah.
So when your children are small, you should be preparing for when they leave. And what I mean by that is building on your relationship so that you guys have a solid relationship, that you have a firm foundation in your relationship, that you have a good friendship. Because what often happens is the children leave home, they go on and live their lives, and you turn around and you look at this person and it's like, who are you? I don't like you.
I don't know you. And quite frankly, I don't want to be in the same room with you.
Because you have not done the work prior to that day happening, and
Right.
you look up and now you're entering retirement,
Right.
and you come home from work, and
Right.
now you realize, oh, I'm home with this person all day long.
So let's get into this, babe. There's a couple of things, specific things that we did. We want to encourage you guys to think about doing, particularly as you enter new stages or what we're calling transitional moments in your relationship development.
Right,
So
right.
what are some of the things that we kind of stress that people work
So
on?
one of the areas that we worked on over the course of our marriage was our communication. And you guys have heard us talk about communication before, but we had to enhance our communication skills and learn how to make decisions together. That means learning how to agree to disagree agreeably.
Ooh, say that 10 times fast.
Agree to disagree agreeably.
So does that mean that if I don't agree with a decision that you're making, that you don't make the decision?
No, sometimes you will, what's the term I'm looking for? You
Acquiesce?
acquiesce to me if it's a decision that you feel like you can live with, although you may not be 100% in agreement with it, but it's something that you say, okay, I can go along with that, but that wouldn't necessarily be my choice.
Got it.
And so, but it's learning to be able to do that, even with the small things, builds upon it when you get to the big things.
Yeah.
So it's not always my way is the highway.
Right.
It's my being able to yield. That's
Right.
the term I was looking for. Being able to yield to your partner and being willing to sometimes disagree, because you're going to disagree. You're both not going to agree on everything.
So when we talk about yielding, I think about driving in traffic, and a lot of times if you come up to a stop sign, it means stop. But when you come up to a yield sign, it means slow down and pay attention to what's really happening, because you need to be prepared to either take the right of way or to give up the right of way.
That's good. That's good.
Because a lot of people, quite frankly, how many of y'all done seen it? They done took something that don't belong to them, but because you want to avoid an accident, you let them.
You let them have
You let it go.
Right.
And we call that picking your battles. We
Yes.
call that saying, okay, where can we disagree agreeably, if that makes any sense? And so it doesn't necessarily mean that because Cherie says this is what we want to do, that's what we're doing. Moving to Panama was about her, not me.
Right.
It was about her mental health, not mine per se. However, I had to be, to some degree, in agreement with it
Right.
in order for us to together or to make this decision as a couple,
Right.
and to be able to thrive in the situation after the decision has been made.
Right. And even with that, there were decisions that we made along the way that prepared us to be in position to even
Yeah.
do this. So like starting our business in 2015. And even with us coming here, making the decision to make some transitions in that business so that we could enjoy ourselves here and not work full time.
Facts.
But we had prepared for this not knowing we were preparing for this. We were
Ooh, that's
preparing
good, babe.
ourselves to be financially free in a lot of
Enough.
ways. Free enough.
Free-ish.
Free-ish. Financially
Because I don't
free.
want to give the
Yeah,
impression,
we're
babe,
not
some-
independently wealthy.
Some people think, oh my God,
Right.
or I have to be independently wealthy to
No.
even be able to
No,
make
you
a move
don't.
like that. And that's not true. But
No.
you do have to have some levels of freedom
Right.
that don't put you in a situation where now you are desperately trying to make money or desperately trying to pay your bills, if you will.
Right, and you have to have a game plan. You
That
have to
part,
have a
yeah.
plan. You can't just enter into any new phase in your life without a plan. Well, let me say you can, but it's going to be difficult and it's going to be challenging.
That part.
If you do it without a plan.
That part.
I'm a planner by nature, so
I'm not.
I researched for 3 years. We had conversations
Y'all.
for 3 years
Y'all.
prior to even coming to visit.
Let me help y'all
Panama.
understand. So the conversations played out in real life. So this looked like us laying in bed on a Saturday morning talking about where you want to go. Well, I'm tired. I don't want to go nowhere. No. I didn't ask you where do you want to get up and go. I just want to ask you where you want to go. Because then comes the TV, and now we're going on a YouTube trip to a place that we had never thought about, because her research was saying Portugal is dope. Her research was saying, had you ever thought about going to Ghana? Like, so all of these things, which 3 years ago, prior to us doing it,
Right.
set the foundation for some real live discussions around what would work and what wouldn't.
Right, and that also goes back to when we were talking about you have to be doing the work on your relationship. And so we learned how to dream together, how to sit
That's
and
good,
actually
babe.
share our dreams with each other and flesh those out and
Yeah.
talk about it
Yeah.
and poke holes in it before it was time to pull a trigger on anything, which made it easier because we had been talking. I knew what some things that you really wanted in the future. You knew what I wanted in the future. And when it came time to make a decision,
It
we
became
were able
easy.
to kind of come to a middle
Yep,
ground.
yep.
Although, yes, we can say that this move was for me in the sense that for my mental stability, I needed a place of peace. I needed to move for that. But also, you were considered in the decision.
So
it
that's-
wasn't just made I
Yeah.
need this and I'm leaving.
And so let's do it
And you
right
just-
away.
Right.
Cherie,
no.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because in this decision being made with your needs in mind primarily,
Got you.
it was made considering mine.
Yes.
Remember that time, and I'm not triggered, but I'm just using it as an example. There was a time where you thought you wanted to change careers.
Right.
And you thought you wanted to be a real estate guru, professional, the whole bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in sales at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was in radio sales. And so I knew that world. I understood it.
I'm not a
Cherie
salesperson.
started, she got her real estate license. I was excited for her. Hey, babe, you should do that. The talk was, I'd like to do this part-time, because truth be told, Cherie likes the idea of people realizing their dreams. She likes the idea of setting the stage,
Yeah.
the whole, decor, the curbside
renovation
appeal, the
part.
renovation part, that whole, HGTV thing. So she figured her step towards that could be a real estate license. Fine. She is doing that part-time and she is struggling. She'll tell you.
Yeah.
Struggling with the sales part,
Cold
getting in front of
calling was
people.
not my thing.
Cold calling was not her thing. One day she decides, and she had been having some challenges at work, and she thought, at some point I'd love to get out of here. The bottom line was, it was her source of income. She comes home one day and said, hey, I just want to let you know I quit my job.
Take this job and shove it.
What? Bro, you said what? Said who? Huh? You hear that helicopter? That was me checking out. You understand me? I was trying to figure out, I need an escape plan, because this woman didn't just say she quit her job. You remember that Southwest commercial, need to get away?
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
Cherie, I was so angry because at that point I felt not considered.
Right. And I didn't consider you in that decision, but I learned from that.
Yep.
And we learned how to communicate in a way that we could, even though we may have disagreed on some things, we always consider the other person and have learned how to make those decisions together, even though one person may yield to the other.
Yeah.
In that situation.
Yeah, and I love the word yield, and that kind of brings me to this idea of reassessing roles and responsibilities. A lot of times when you're coming up on a situation where you're forced or the idea to yield is coming into play, now you're going to have to almost readjust the way you think, the way you see things, perhaps maybe your role. And I think a lot of times what people don't consider is that where you're going is not where you are.
Right.
And there is a role there that you have to be prepared for mentally, because the one that the position that you're rolling in now is not that.
Right. So when our children were younger, when they were still at home, when our daughter was at home, I took care of everything primarily in the household. I cooked, I cleaned. That was primarily my role, although I worked another job. The kids had chores too, so I wasn't doing it all by myself. Even when our son lived with us, it was the same thing. But once they both were gone from home, we went through a transition to becoming empty nesters. It was like, okay, I'm not cooking every day. I'm not, I don't. There's not
that.
a need to do
Cherie would
all
go
these
on
things.
strike.
I wasn't on strike. I just.
She'd be like, listen, let me explain something to y'all. If y'all looking for me to cook, tonight ain't that night.
Right. And so
Now, I don't know if you call that strike.
It wasn't strike.
It felt like a strike to me.
It wasn't strike. But once they left, we had to reassess that role, because I was like, I don't have small children anymore. I don't need to cook every day. You can cook. Let's take turns. Let's divide we had to redistribute the chores in the household, because now the kids weren't there, so I can't give them chores, but I didn't want to do everything. So we had those conversations. So even when it came to us moving here to Panama, because our entire lifestyle changed, even when it comes down to, business responsibilities, we had to have those conversations in advance before we got here, so we knew who was doing what, who's responsible for what.
Right. Now, I know a lot of people, especially if you built like me, you thinking that's too many details. Here's the problem with that. I agree. In my mind, it don't take all that. In my mind, you just jump in and you get in where you fit in and you figure it out. Here's the challenge. When we talk about communication, I'll go back to number one for a quick second. I believe that takes a certain skill set. And the skill set is developed through a regimen. What I didn't want to do is for us to find ourselves abroad in the next stage of life losing because we didn't do our work here. So for us, it really did become about understanding on the front end, what is your level of expectation? What do you need from me? What are you thinking before we have to execute on that? So I can begin to wrap my mind around it, because quite frankly, I'm not built like Cherie.
Right, and this may sound really trivial to some of you, but when you change your environment, when you go through any transition in life, those little things are the things that will chip away at your relationship.
Come on, Cherie.
If you don't have communication over those little things become mountains.
It becomes how you show up.
Right, because those
when
things,
it matters.
Right, those things will build up. All those little things will keep building up. So if you focus on the little things as they come, as you see that they need to be addressed, you won't have those big issues, because you've developed a habit in those little things that when a big issue comes up, you guys know how to communicate, you know how to reassess your roles, you know how to share in what the load is so it doesn't fall all on one person. And the third thing that we had to do was strengthen our emotional resilience and our support system for each other.
Ooh, talk about it.
Now, most of the time when you hear people talk about support system, they're talking about their extended family, they're talking about friends. No, as a couple, whether, like I said, whether it's you're going into retirement, whether you are becoming empty nesters, or whether you're relocating, whether it's in the country or it's out of the country, if you have not built the skill to be able to support one another, when you get off to yourself,
you're gonna choose you.
Right.
When you get off to yourself and you have a lack of strength in your support system of one another, you will choose you 100% of the time.
Right, because when you're in your comfort zone, when you're in your place where you have all of your support, you lean on them. You don't lean on your spouse. But when it's just the two of you,
now that support system is gone.
Right. If you haven't built the ability to support one another, when it's just the two of you, you have no support. You're going to feel alone, although you're in the home with somebody else, because you guys have not developed the habit of supporting one another. If I'm going through something, he like, go talk to your girlfriend.
Right. Or go talk to your mama.
Right. Or if he going through something, go talk to your guys. I'm not here for that. I don't want to hear all that.
I don't want to hear all that.
And so one thing that we did very early in our relationship, we practiced the ability to be able to share any and everything with each other.
Yeah.
And so no matter what we were going through, we could share it with each other. And so therefore we learned how to support each other.
Not knowing what the future would behold. I didn't know the future would behold some of the medical challenges that we both have had to endure or go through. Some of them are natural, menopause.
Menopause.
Some of them are not so natural, a spouse breaking a leg, or me having to support my spouse in a mental health crisis. I didn't factor for that, y'all. That wasn't my world. I didn't think like that. I didn't understand that. I wasn't educated. So I think that, to go back to what you said, babe, I think it really was about that, strengthening our emotional resilience, working on our emotional well-being.
Right.
I'm going to talk a little bit about that. A lot of times you hear IQ versus EQ, the intelligence quotient versus the emotional quotient. And one of the things as relationship coaches we've had to work with other people is in this area, and that is, what does it look like to increase your emotional intelligence, right? So your EQ is that emotional quotient. Unlike an IQ, that's something that can be grown.
Yes.
That's something that can be matured and developed. I have become a much more patient man because I've worked on the skills of being more emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
It don't mean that I don't have a say. It don't mean that I am a pushover. It don't mean that I'm walking around and everything she says, I'm hop to it, or vice versa.
Right.
This don't mean that I'm controlling her. This doesn't mean that all of a sudden it's no, it means that I'm emotionally present. That took time. And quite frankly, it's situations when you having to make a transition that will test that.
Yes.
Because still, even now, That's being tested. That's not something that we've arrived.
Right. There are still situations when we have to check in and pull back and be aware of the other person's emotion and
Absolutely.
be emotionally aware of where they are and handle and have emotional management, because it's very easy, especially in the heat, to let your emotions rise.
Listen,
with the temperature.
I ain't taking my glasses off, wiping my brow every other minute because I just am nervous.
Right, but being able to manage your emotions is me being able to say, okay, I'm upset or I'm
Yep.
bothered about something.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with him.
Yep.
It's something that I'm feeling. I'm hangry.
Yep.
This is me.
Yep.
So I can't take that out on him. And it's very imperative when you go through those transitions and it's just the two of you. You have to learn how to manage your emotions. You have to be able to be resilient in your emotions, to be able to support one another, whether it's the loss of a family member, whether it's, an illness, whatever it is. Being able to support each other emotionally when it's just the two of you is a habit that has to be developed. It's not going to just happen
Yep.
because now, we retired and now we're able to do that.
Quote, just live our life at that point.
It's something you have to work on. It's possible. I believe that you can do it. I'm grateful that we've done the work, that we've been able to work on it. And like you said, we're still tested in it. We're not perfect, not in no stretch of the imagination.
For sure.
But because we have been practicing it, it makes it a lot easier to overcome those hurdles, because things are going to happen in life.
Yeah.
Even though, you guys might think we live in paradise. Even in paradise.
And we do.
Things happen.
But stuff be happening in paradise,
right,
y'all.
things still happen, but if you don't have that emotional resilience, you can find yourself getting caught up in your emotions, taking it out on your spouse. And when it's just the two of you, if I'm taking it out on you, I ain't got nowhere to go. I can't go to my mama house.
No,
I can't go to my daughter's house.
You can't do
it's
that.
It's just us.
Yeah.
I mean, although, yes, I have relationships here, I have friends here, I don't want to run away from the relationship.
So that's the other part. And the last thing I want to share, baby, before we talk about how we can be a support to you guys, and that is, what is your intention? Do you want to run to each other or away from each other? What is your intention as you grow older? Is this about supporting one another's dreams, visions, hopes, and aspirations? Or is this about getting to the end of your life and you being selfish because now you have the resources to choose you? You got to make that decision. And if you come to a place like paradise, and for us, it's Panama. For some people, it's South Florida. For other people, it might be Ireland. I don't know.
Right.
But I can promise you this, all of those environments will test your resolve to the work that you have or have not done. And speaking of that, we'd love to be a support to you. We've been talking a lot about these relationship issues. Cherie and I together have written 9 books. We've sold well over 50,000 copies last time we stopped counting years ago. It's led to a speaking career where we've gone, all over the country speaking at conferences and different things like that. And it's led to an online coaching community. And that's where we host the MAPS Relationship Academy. And it's where we have, for going on 8 years now, created an environment for couples to come in and to really work on skilling up. This ain't about you. Do you love each other or not? We get that. You do. Obviously, you wouldn't be together if you didn't.
Right.
The challenge is, can you live that love out?
Right.
The other thing we'd love to support you on, if you choose to come visit, and you want to come to Panama, we would love to curate that experience for you through what we call Taste and See experiences.
Right. And so we actually are going to be announcing very soon actual trips that we have planned and put together, that we've curated, that you guys can come sign up for these trips and come and experience Panama. Because we are here in Panama, we've been able to custom curate these with the best vendors, with the best activities, the best hotels for you to stay at, so that you have an amazing experience when you come here. Each experience will be themed depending on the time of year that it is, so you can pick and choose which one you want to come on. But we hope that you come and visit Panama. We hope you come and taste and see. Not that we're encouraging everybody to come and move to Panama.
But if relocating is something you're thinking about, what we would encourage you to do is come taste and see.
Right.
That this might even be something you'd want to do.
Right, and even if you're not looking to relocate, Panama is one of those countries that people often overlook.
Yeah.
And we really want to expose it to people.
Yeah,
for
everybody
people
will go to
know.
Costa Rica, they'll go to Colombia. Both of those countries are on the
both
opposite
ends.
sides of Panama,
You just skip
and
over
you just
poor
kind
little
of skip
Panama.
right over Panama when, quite frankly, if you did a little bit of study, you'd find that Panama can offer all the things that Costa Rica and the Colombias of the world,
with a major metropolitan city,
with a major metropolitan city that, quite frankly,
they don't have.
They come here to vacation.
Right.
So we would love to encourage you to come taste and see that living liberated is good.
Yes. And so at the end of the day,
here's what we know to be true. You can't get to any place of significance by
yourself.
And why is that?
Because we all
need
some help.
Help.
Please,
I need somebody help.
Please be sure
Not
to
just
subscribe, share this out,
anybody help.
and we will see you guys
I
in the
need
next
someone
episode of Behind
help.
Closed Doors with the Brooks. Sisters.
Bye.